Yes, I'm listening to Final Fantasy X music while I talk about Star Ocean, just to troll you guys. So, spoilers already. Just answering a question that I get asked a lot, switching it up. Sometimes I do this besides fighting game stuff. What is your favorite game of all time? And I've always said not even just fighting games. I don't have a favorite fighting game of all time. All games have their good and their bad. But instinctively, a lot of times when I think of what is your favorite game of all time, I instantly, I think to Star Ocean 3. Star Ocean 3, the first two-thirds of, is really one of my favorite games of all time. And why is it one of my favorite games of all time? Something that Star Ocean 3 does really well, and it's something when you think about RPGs, right? It's easy to get immersed in the world. The suspension of disbelief, again, specifically the two-thirds of the game, the first two-thirds, is really good because, it has that whole kind of encyclopedia in the game. And so there's always kind of rules that it gives you as to why the world works. And a lot of times when you're immersing yourself in a video game, there needs, or a world, or even a story, there needs to be rules so you have that suspension of disbelief as to why the world works like that. And Star Ocean 3 has that. Star Trek, I think, is it Star Trek that calls it this, or is it Star Ocean that calls it this, that prime directive or whatever, and that's why certain worlds look like this. That's why, you crash land on a planet and you can't just go and take out your laser gun and kill people. You know what I mean? Star Ocean 3, the very first two-thirds of it, has a really good suspension of disbelief about why the world works, and it helps you really get invested in the story and to lose yourself in the story. And I know when I talked about Final Fantasy VII Remake, I didn't think that Final Fantasy VII Remake was a bad game. I think it's a good game, but I didn't consider it a good RPG because I don't think the game, from an RPG kind of perspective of immersing yourself in the world and, that suspension of disbelief that you are there in the world, I don't think it does a good job. I didn't feel like I was really playing a traditional RPG. And I guess it's not a traditional RPG, but, that's something that a game like Final Fantasy VII Remake lacks. There are parts of the game that I like, but, Star Ocean 3, man. And that's why I say the last third of Star Ocean 3 was so bad for me, because it throws out all these rules that were helping you suspend disbelief out the window. And it does it really badly too. When you have that whole plot twist that you're just in this video game, it's not even done well. You know what I mean? And they start throwing rules at you, and maybe there's mistranslations because I never played the Japanese version of the game. I played Persona 4 in Japanese, and I played a couple of other RPGs, but so I don't know if there were some translation errors in it, but Star Ocean 3, they have these rules like, we can't really play as you. You're just a character that we watch. But then, of course, when you go to the world, there's that whole battle arena where they make little jokes. It's like, I don't know why someone would want to be a monster, but I just like being a monster when I play, even though I can't go into towns. And it's like, okay, I get the joke, and that's supposed to be funny, but I thought you don't control anybody. And they just start mismatching the rules, and it's not clear. One guy talks to him, he's like, that battle there and there? That's who I was. I was that guy. And it's like, I thought you just said that you don't play as the characters. Now you do. And then, once you beat the game, they even throw it in your face more, and there's kind of sarcastic jokes. I think when you go to the first secret dungeon, it's like, the battle will automatically be harder, but don't worry, it's just a video game, that none of this is real. And the sarcasm, they just really dug home how terrible it was. But yeah, when I think of my favorite game ever, I do think of Star Ocean 3, the first two-thirds of it, because I think it's really well done. The fights are fun, the music. There's no music that I really love in the game that I'm like, I gotta listen to this, I gotta listen to this. You know what I mean? But the music is very serviceable to good, I think. Generally great battles. Not the greatest battles ever in an RPG, but I'm just thinking of all around. You know what I mean? I think it's an amazing game, and it's the suspension of disbelief is really important for an RPG. just emotions, I think, are really important. You know, to be lost in something. And I remember playing the game too. And of course, there's a bit of nostalgia because when I played Star Ocean 3, I had just really started getting sick. You know what I mean? I knew I had been sick for about a year before, you know, and it was right when I had gone on disability. And so I was knee deep thick in being sick, wondering how long I was going to be alive. And, you know, life was really scary. So I was really immersed in a lot of different RPGs, you know, for better or worse. You know what I mean? It's good to lose yourself in something sometimes. But, you know, the bad part, going off on a tangent, is, you know, I still believe my doctors were going to help me. And, you know, so that was a mistake too. But, you know, that's going off on another thing. But, you know, if there's anything that could have made Star Ocean 3 for sure my favorite fighting game, RPG ever, I think, you know, other things that bothered me. It bothered me that you never went to Greeton. You know, I think it was that city was on the right side or whatever. And it's like, yeah, oh, this is the most technologically advanced city. We're going to talk about it the whole time. And then you just never go there. They could have, quotation marks, could have easily, you know what I mean, add in just a side mission. You don't even have to go to the whole city. Just say when Fate shot those laser beams up and was destroying those Vendini ships, say that one of the ships crash landed in Greeton. And they're like, oh, hey, we're going to be opening this up just so can you check out this ship? Have a little mini dungeon of a ship, or just a little couple of panels of a screen that you explore a ship. Maybe there's a secret weapon there and there's a secret boss there or something. I thought that was a really drop ball. And that's another one of those things that it kind of just, the game had so many sour spots that were done really badly. You know, even when you're like, oh, when you're first making that laser gun, you know what I mean, for the Aqua, the Ninja Girl world, whatever, I forget what it's called. The Team Aquarius Ninja Girl world, Ninja Slut Tribe, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, we're trying to make this laser gun, but we don't know how to make it, but we need copper. And I remember they had these conversations like, how the hell did they have this technology in the first place to make the laser gun in the first place? And there's this whole little segment, it goes off for a few minutes like, yeah, it doesn't make sense how they have this in the first place. And they talk about it, it's like, yeah, it doesn't. And it's like, if we have copper, we can do it. But how did they make this laser gun in the first place? Boom, it's never talked about again. There's stuff like that. There's little plot points that just really, really fucking irk me in the game. But yeah, in general, if they could have like tidied up that plot twist or not had it all together, you know what I mean? Had a couple of other side quests. Greeton is such a great example. Maybe have, when you're trying to find the ship where you are, go to at least one possible futuristic world or some kind of shit like that. Just a little bit of futurism, you know what I mean? I think the game probably would have been my favorite. I mean, I actually like, you know, another thing I like about the game is I like that the last boss is actually just a dude. I like that the last boss in the game is not a fucking monster for once. You know what I mean? I like that it's just a dude. But, you know, of course, the ending sucks. God, the last third of the game is so fucking terrible. But really, you know, people ask, what's your favorite game? I don't even instinctively think fighting games because, again, I don't play a lot of fighting games in that sense. You know what I mean? I just do fighting game stuff because I can do it. You know what I mean? I know that always gets haters mad, but I just have the raw skill to do it in fighting games. But I really do enjoy a lot of RPGs. And when I think of Clayton, what is your favorite game of all time? A lot of times my mind instantly will think of an RPG, right? I don't even know if it's a fighting game is my favorite game of all time, let alone what is the best fighting game of all time. I don't even know if a fighting game is my favorite game of all time. And again, Star Ocean 3 is always a game to think of that I enjoyed a lot. Man, if you like these other videos, like, sub, silly, comment, share, support the channel if you want. Thanks.